All right, everybody, we will begin. First, thank you for attending today's web training talking about how to get the most out of your professional camera system as well as system design. My name is Troy Barron. I will be taking you through our journey today, and we're going to cover a lot of information, so there will be a few opportunities for questions at specific parts of the training that we will allocate time for. There are a lot of people attending today, so if we don't get to all your questions, do at least type them into the box on the right-hand side, and at the follow-up, we will be able to answer those questions. So let's get things started. Today, we're going to learn how you can save thousands of dollars with a few new distribution methods for CCTV. We're going to learn sought-after methods on how to monitor your surveillance cameras from both the internet and the smartphone, and make sure that you are more confident knowing that you're speccing the right camera for the job. As I mentioned, we will be going through a lot of information today. Some of this may be a review for some of you, but we will go over a plethora of topics, including terminology, camera specifications, placement, system design, including basic networking setup, and installation options for you as well. Now, some of you may be asking, why should I get into CCTV? And hopefully that's why you're attending today. One reason is that according to the FBI, 74% of all burglaries are residential applications offenses, and there were over 2 million burglaries in 2010 alone. Another reason that you should consider getting into this market is that out of all the markets, including home theater, home automation, CCTV, energy management, and a few things that affect our industry, CCTV is poised for the most growth. First, we'll begin with camera specifications and terminology. So, lines of resolution. What are lines of resolution? We're referring to scan lines. They are a reference to scan lines, which are essentially what create the image on your television set. What are lines of resolution, and why don't I see them? Well, the basic answer is that they happen too fast for your eye to see. So how does this relate to cameras? Well, the higher number of resolution, the lines of resolution, equates to the better picture quality. Cameras range from 380 TV lines up to 700 and 650 for high resolution these days. Types of video signal does my camera produce? You do produce a composite video image, which can be connected directly to your television using a composite video connection. Some more terminology that you might encounter is lux. So what is a lux, and what does it have to do with cameras? Well, basically, cameras need a minimum ambient amount of light to be able to produce an image. So if a camera has a lux rating of, say, 0.2, that means the camera will not be able to produce an image if the ambient light that's available is below that. Okay, Troy, that's great, but what is lux? A lux is nothing more than a unit of measurement which quantifies the ambient light that is available. You can do this with a light meter. Okay, so what does 0.2 lux equate to? This is a little example to help illustrate what you might encounter for a camera rating and how that might translate to light that's available. For example, 0.25 lux is equivalent to the ambient light from a full moon on a clear night. A little more terminology that you might hear. This is a newer terminology referred to as WDR. WDR stands for wide dynamic range. Wide dynamic range cameras allow you to capture and display both bright areas and dark areas in the same frame where normally it would be too saturated. This is a real good application for cameras looking at doors with windows and light behind them. As seen here, you'll see that the photograph on the left shows the wide dynamic range feature off on your camera. On the right-hand side, you'll see how it offers backlight compensation and does not have areas that are too washed out. WDR cameras are a unique application, and I'll offer it in some of the Channel Vision series as well. Just a few more terminology, and then we'll wrap into some camera specifications and how to spec the right camera. But first, you might want to know about night vision cameras and how do they work. Well, basically they use LED illuminators, which are invisible light, to reflect off objects back onto the camera's sensor so that it can produce an image. Images on night vision cameras are shown in black and white so that the camera can pick up all of the available light. If you don't have enough light, you can pick up an IR illuminator. An IR illuminator is essentially a standalone light. You can think of it as an invisible spotlight. This doesn't have to be necessarily right next to the camera, but this has to be illuminated on the area that you are trying to see. Some more terminology that you may hear is CCD chip format. So why should you care about this? Well, this is a very important part of a camera and how it relates to specifications on choosing the right camera. This is the image sensing chip that is within the camera that allows the camera to produce an image. There are a variety of different sizes of CCD chips. Most popular is a third CCD chip, and this has to play with your field of view, what image you're going to see on your screen. Another factor you may have to consider is your focal length of your lens. So why should you care about this? Well, the camera lens determines how large the image will be on your TV screen. An example of a short focal length, such as 3.6, which is standard in many cameras, will show a larger area at a closer distance, whereas a long focal length, such as a 9mm or a telephoto, will show a smaller area zoomed in further away. So how do I know what I'm going to need? Now, there are many calculators on the internet that you can utilize, and Channel Vision has one as well. But this is the basic formula that you can use to determine the camera that you're going to use for your specific job. First thing you have to do is take the distance to your target. In our application here, 20 feet away. Next, you want to divide the width of the target area, which is the area that you want to cover. So 10 divided by 20 will result in a fixed number of 2. Then you have to multiply this number by the camera sensor. As shown here, a 1/3 sensor is equivalent to a fixed multiplier of 4.8. This is a fixed number, and this will not change. And it does change only if you're using different size CCD chips. So multiplying 2 times this fixed multiplier gives you a 9.6mm lens. So based on our application here, to see an image 20 feet away and cover an area about 10 feet, you would need a 9mm lens. Practical applications on what that actually looks like can be seen here. On the left-hand side, you'll see a 3.6mm lens at 15 feet away, which will give you an area of coverage of about 20 feet wide by 15 feet high. Looking at the lens on the far right of a 9mm focal length, you'll see an area much more focused in, covering an area of about 8 feet wide by 6 feet high. If you take that back 10 feet, you'll get an image that looks something like this. So if you're looking down a driveway perhaps, maybe about 25 feet away to the end of the driveway, you can look at a 6mm lens to give you an area of coverage about 20 feet wide by 15 feet high. And this will give you a pretty good idea of what you could expect out of your cameras based on your focal length, based on the formula that we just did. Now don't worry, for all you math gurus out there, there are calculators available. Next, we're going to talk about installation of PTZ cameras, because this does involve some terminology that we might encounter as well. And that might be RS-485. So what is RS-485 and how does it work? Well, RS-485 is a serial control methodology that essentially allows different items to be connected to a single controller. It was originally developed to control machines, but is perfectly suited for cameras as well. Another term that is involved and associated with RS-485 are PELCO-D and PELCO-D protocols. These are essentially our serial control protocols that establish a common language that is understood both by the controller and the camera. Typically, this is configured by dip switches in the camera and options that will be available to you. Channel Vision's new pan tilt zoom series will be released later this month. So what types of cameras are we looking at today? Well, there's a variety of different options. You have pinhole cameras, flush mount, dome, pan tilt zoom, and bullet. So when should I use each one? Well, the answer to that question depends on what you're trying to achieve. But when you're selecting the camera, here's a general overview of what works well for each application. Pinhole cameras are typically great for covert surveillance when you don't want somebody to know they're being watched. Flush mount cameras are popular for unobtrusive use and typically used indoors, good for nanny cam applications, the money room and the manager's office. And of the bullet cameras, you'll probably find to be one of your most versatile cameras. Really good for outdoor use, typically have a convenient mounting option that will give you an area to cover versatilely based on your mounting solutions. Another option that's really good for outdoor or indoor use are dome cameras. Some dome cameras are available in a vandal design, which makes them ideal for outdoor use. IP cameras are a great solution for high resolution. They're viewable over the internet, and typically you can use a Cat5 scalable to large systems. And pan tilt zoom cameras offer the ability to pan, tilt, and zoom functions, and essentially are motorized cameras. Now we'll move into some camera specifics. Looking at the Channel Vision offering here, you'll see a handful of popular cameras that Channel Vision offers. On the top left-hand side, the 6330 bullet offered high resolution, 550 lines, as well as a good viewing distance in the dark, as well as our popular 6026 camera that offers a high resolution with access tilting and IR illuminators at a great dealer price and offers a real good solution. Some of the pinhole cameras are also available in a wide dynamic range feature, as well as fixed lens. Some more popular cameras from Channel Vision include our WDR models, which we talked about earlier, the wide dynamic range feature, and these offer high resolution around 650 lines, vandal-proof design, as well as IR illumination. Channel Vision does also offer a full line of IP cameras, including 2 megapixel quality, varifocal lenses, which means they're manually adjustable, waterproof rating at IP66, with multiple compression methods including H.264, MPEG-4, and MJPEG streaming. Also, these can be viewed directly on your smartphone without having to use a DVR. The IP cameras are also PoE enabled and come with an included central management software. Offered analog recording capabilities and on-BIF compliance, implying that it'll work with any on-BIF compliant NVR. And there are also drivers available for touchscreen automation companies like Control4, Crestron, and AMX. Just a few more tidbits with your IP cameras. They do have a built-in web server, which means you're going to get real-time HD quality video through the network, multiple compressions, which allows you to stream to automation partners. You also have live view and playback simultaneously, as well as on mobile devices, and are scalable for whether it be a commercial application or single-family homes. And of course, got to be able to use them outdoors. The dome is a vandal-resistant option and can be viewed on your touchscreen systems. Here's an overview of how your IP cameras are going to connect with your system. Simply plug your IP cameras into the network, and then you can view them from your smartphone or from your computer. Now we'll open up the line for questions. If you did have a question on some of the basic terminology We'll, good place to ask now, go through a few of those options for you. If you don't have any questions right now, there will be another opportunity if we don't get those questions answered. We'll just take a look at the board real quick. Do your IP cameras work on Macintosh computers? Good question. Channel Vision's IP cameras are Windows-based platforms and can be viewed on a PC. We have a question here that asks if we could take a look back at the formula on how to choose the right camera, and we will go through that one more time for you. So let me just go back a notch so we can make sure we get that, because that does involve a little bit of math, but nothing too dramatic for us. So if you take a closer look at the formula, just to recap, you start with the distance. How far away is the object that you're trying to see? Then you can do that math and divide by the width of the target area. This is a number that you define so that you can cover, say I want to cover an area, it's just 5 feet. I just want to see somebody walking in the door. Where I want to see anybody sneaking across the wall from the front door to the parking lot. That's where you determine this number. So in our application here, 10 feet. So divide the width of the target area. 20 divided by 10 equals 2. And then you multiply that by a fixed number depending on the CCD chip in your camera. In our application, 4.8. 2 times 4.8 equals 9.6, indicating that a 9mm lens is ideal for our solution of 20 feet away. With that being said, we'll move on to our DVRs. And in this section, we're going to go over a few different things. We're going to go over some of the specifications of the DVRs that Channel Vision offers, and we're also going to walk through the basic setup of your networking techniques that we're going to go through for you here. So regarding some of the features of the G-Series DVRs, the G-Series DVRs offers a plethora of everything that you would need for a functioning DVR and a system, including USB ports, dual streaming, dual video output, VGA main and spot monitoring, audio inputs and outputs, sensors, as well as a simple-to-use data network setup, which we'll take a look at, and is available in 4, 8, and 16 channels. Also, the Channel Vision G-Series 8 and 16 channel are now also available with HDMI as an option. Some new features, as we mentioned, dual USB ports. So what does that mean? Front port allows you for copying data to a flash drive, and your rear port is for mouse control. A question we often get is storage capacity and how much do I need? This is another question that has a lot of variables, including your frames per second, the resolution that you're setting at, the compression that you're using. So there is no real specific answer to that, but to give you a ballpark idea, using an average resolution on your setting with an average frames per second, you could expect to get about 4 weeks of recording on a 4-channel with a 500 gig hard drive. Another terminology that you may encounter involves dual streaming. So what does that actually mean? Well, Channel Vision's offering 20% more capacity than past generation H.264. Think of it as H.264 version 1.2. In addition to that, dual streaming allows for higher resolutions images to be recorded directly to the hard drive, while a lower resolution image can be viewed simultaneously over the smartphone without compromising any quality. You will also encounter a dual video output. This is a nice feature that's built into the G-Series DVR because it offers a couple different options for you. You can use VGA, main, and spot monitoring all at the same time. Great opportunity to send the video out to a monitor as well as modulate that video signal to distribute it to more locations. More useful functions that are built into the Channel Vision DVR are your still image snapshot, which is available during your playback mode. You can obviously also customize each individual channel by resolution, frame rate, and video quality, and utilize the AVI file converter with timestamp so you can submit it directly as evidence to the police. To make things easier for your customers, we also offer the same on-screen user display, individual user authority management, central management software, as well as smartphone viewing with free apps available. We'll take a closer look at a couple of these features and then get into the networking aspect of it. Taking a look at your on-screen display would look just the same as if you were logging in from the computer remotely as if you were standing right in front of it. Same user-friendly icons and the same setup can be done. The individual authority management grants access to multiple users. You can have up to 4 individual users with individual access codes, which allows you to manage your DVR securely. You can grant access to certain features such as playback, networking setup, or even mask specific cameras that you may not want them to be able to have access to. One of the great features included in Channel Vision's DVR is the CMS software, or Central Management System. Here, this allows you to connect up to 16 of the G-Series DVRs. This is a great application if you have a business owner that's got multiple locations or a homeowner that's got multiple locations, so they can see all their cameras at one location. This allows you to view up to 32 cameras at the same time and map your cameras accordingly. You can even upload a blueprint and place those cameras in the said locations. In addition, you have a still image snapshot and AVI watermarking built into this. So what does that central management software interface look like? It looks something like this. Here you can see that I have cameras from all over my variety of different DVRs channels. I can view them all on one screen. In addition to that, I could actually record what I'm seeing on my computer. So for example, if I had 2 businesses, I could see both locations and record them to my desktop computer remotely. We do offer mobile phone viewing available on all your platforms, including iPhones, Androids, Blackberries, and Windows Mobile, and offer a good variety of options available for you. The app that you can use today is iWatch DVR, both on Android and iPhone, to integrate with the G-Series DVR. Channel Vision's branded app will be available soon. So additional features that you also have built into the G-Series DVR are live display, record, backup, and playback all simultaneously. And we are using built-in SATA hard drives. To make things real easy for you, we actually put together a few kits based on our dealer's input. They include our Kit 1, Kit 2, and Kit 3. Included in the Kit 1 is a DVR, 4-channel DVR, 19-inch enclosure, and an IR repeater system so that you can keep the DVR in a lockbox in a remote location while still being able to offer the control of the DVR as if you were standing right in front of it. Our Kit 2 offers a 4-channel DVR, 500 gigabyte hard drive, and 4 outdoor bullet cameras. And our Kit 3 offers 4 indoor dome cameras with 540 TV lines and IR. Both Kit 2 and Kit 3 carry an incredible, great dealer price, well under $600, offer your customers some unique solutions. Next, we're going to take a look at network setup. So for setting up your DVR, and this same situation will apply to most DVRs, but we're going to specifically look at setting up the Channel Vision G-Series DVR. This won't take too long, and all of this information will be available both online afterwards as well as a document-to-step guide you through here. So to begin, you're going to want to start by running your command prompt and typing in ipconfig. That will take you to a DOS prompt that looks something like this, and from this screen, you're going to have to jot down some information. First thing, do make note of your IP address. The IP address will be different for your DVR than from your computer. A couple other things you're going to want to jot down from this screen include your default gateway, your DNS server, and your subnet mask. All of this information will have to be plugged in to the DVR. Next, you're going to have to log into the DVR using your administrator password and get into your DVR networking setup. Once you're in here, simply plug in the information that we discussed from our past screen, including our default gateway, our DNS server, and the subnet mask. Now we have to assign an IP address to our camera, to our DVR. Here you're going to use the first 3 set of numbers that were given from your default gateway and your IP address, and then change the last 3 digits to whatever numbers you want. The next step will involve forwarding the port on your router. Now, there are a lot of different routers out there, and there's different places for support. But first, you just have to enable your HTTP setup and choose the port. This is actually done by you. You assign the port number, and it can be virtually any number you want. Typically, 5400 is a good port that's unused by any other devices and offers you a convenient point of reference. Once you've assigned the port inside the DVR, you have to actually physically forward the port in your router. Now, I can't tell you how to do this on every router, but essentially what you're going to do is log into the administrative application of the router that's on the network, and under the virtual server page, you'll have some information to plug in here. You'll see on the left-hand side that we plug in the IP address that we assign to the DVR, the last 3 digits of 206, as well as the port that we assign to it, which is port 5400, and then be able to check that box from the drop-down screen. Now, the last thing that you'll have to do is confirm that you have a static or dynamic IP address. If you're working with a dynamic IP address, this implies that your IP address is always changing. What Channel Vision has to offer you to make that easy for you is a DNS hosting site, Channel Vision Security. What this means is that instead of your customer having to remember a string of numbers, you can assign them a name such as Troy's DVR at channelvisionsecurity.com, and they'll be able to log in directly to their DVR. Now, if you do need more help with port forwarding, there is a website that is rather helpful, and it does offer a variety of different routers and the specific instructions, and you can take a look at that at portforward.com. Now that we have all of our information, we go to Internet Explorer, log into our IP cameras, log into our DVR, and activate the ActiveX control, and you'll be able to view your cameras. Just to recap how all that ties together, you see we had our analog cameras, and we can connect them to our DVR or a web server, which gives them an IP address and then connects that to the network. Once connected to the network, you can view it via your smartphone or your computer, as well as using your sensor management software and being able to kick that out to record to off-site storage as well. Now, that was a lot of information in a nutshell. Like I said, Channel Vision does offer a short-form document that does offer all the steps that we just outlined, as well as some additional units with screenshots to be able to assist you when setting up your DVR. We're going to also take a look at a couple camera applications and how you can distribute that video, because this is a question that often comes up. One of those ways to distribute the video is by using a modulator. Now, what does a modulator do? Essentially, a modulator allows you to connect several CCTV cameras or your DVR and distribute them over one coax by placing them on a channel that can be viewed on your television's tuner. This also enables you to view multiple screens at the same time. You can use either a DVR or a modulator and select your cameras to different channels and have it assigned so that they can be viewed directly. You can see multiple cameras on your TV screen by feeding them out from your DVR into a modulator. In this application, your cameras are actually connected to your DVR, and the output is then fed to a single input modulator, and then whatever view your DVR is set to, such as quad view, single channel, etc., would be available on your television. So just to recap all the different ways you can view your cameras, you can view them directly from your DVR onto the VGA input of your monitor. You can run the camera or the DVR video directly into the composite video input on your television. You can also distribute that video signal through your RF modulator onto a television tuner. You can view them over your computer or your smartphone or your tablet, your iPhone, your iPad, or if you're using a web server or our IP cameras, you can also integrate with touchscreen automation systems. Now we're talking about modulation, and some of you may be familiar with the concept of modulation, but don't know what to do with digital cable. Now that you have digital cable out, there essentially isn't as much room to modulate on a digital cable signal, thanks to on-demand, high definition, and pay-per-view. To be able to run a single cable to your television and combine your digital cable signal with your cameras and your modulator, you can use our Affinity cable combiner. This allows you to have two modulated inputs and send that to 8 different locations. Essentially, it's an IR-based switch. So if we take a closer look at the system, you'll see here that the unit is literally just an 8-way splitter that has indicator lights, IR control, modulated inputs, as well as 8 TV outputs to your television and a single input from your digital cable provider. So in real-life application, what does that look like? It would look something like this. Your input from your cable signal comes into your left-hand side. You can plug your modulator on the right-hand side, and then you can use the IR-based switch to switch between the two signals, just as if you had ran a second line. The trick here is it's one cable, one solution, without having to run any additional wires or use any filters. Now, that was a lot of information, so we'll review a couple different things on what we talked about. We talked about a lot of the camera terminology that you may encounter, as well as how to spec the right camera using the formula that we talked about. We also talked about placement, how to choose the right camera based on the lens focal length and the options you have available there. We also took a little look at system design when integrating a pan-tilt zoom camera or integrating with pinhole cameras or whatever your application may call for. We have a variety of cameras that can fit your needs, as well as going over some of the installation basics of setting up the DVR on the network, which, as you saw briefly, can be done fairly quickly with a few keystrokes and a few notes. Now, we're going to open up the line for a few more questions. And again, if we don't answer all your questions, we do apologize. We have a lot of people on today, so we may be able to view that or review that a little bit later. Here's a question regarding the IP cameras and integration with Crestron. There is a full list of Channel Vision IP cameras and specific Crestron modules that they work with that are available on channelvision.com under our partner tab on the bottom of the website. Here's a good question. And how are pinhole cameras primarily used in the home, and where's the best place to put them? Well, the answer, again, really depends on the application, because the pinhole cameras are going to have a smaller focal length lens, such as a 5.5, which is going to give you a more focused area of coverage. So typically, you would think of this as an area that's going to give you You can use in a kid's room to overview the kids as they're playing in the nursery, or a couple different applications like that in the home to overview a specific room, because it's going to give you a fairly good area of coverage. Regarding this training will be available on our YouTube channel for viewing at any time at channelvision.com. There's a question here regarding our IP cameras integrating with our DVR. Do our DVRs also work with our IP cameras? This is a good question. Our DVRs are analog DVRs. They are not hybrid, which implies that they can work on both IP cameras and analog cameras. However, our IP camera does offer an analog video connection, which does allow for video to be connected directly to an analog DVR. Here's a question regarding your DVR smartphone application. And the question is, do you have the same view of your camera and DVR interface on the smartphone as you do on the DVR on a TV? And the answer to that question is no. It will be slightly different, obviously, because it's a smaller platform with a lightweight operating system. You will have a different view, but you will have the ability to view all of your channels live. At the present time, the DVR app does not offer playback of the DVR, as do most of these units. Here's a question regarding some questions regarding our hard drives. That question will be addressed a little bit later. There was a worldwide hard drive shortage, which caused a temporary cost of inflation on most hard drives, and our prices are coming down. Here's a question regarding modulation. If someone is using a satellite TV system, can they use our Affinity system? The technical answer to that question is no. The Affinity solution, which we looked at towards the end there, is available only for digital cable system. Now, there's a whole slew of questions, but we do understand that everybody has a time constraint, and we do appreciate you spending some time with us. So what we're going to do is address all these questions in the email and send that out formally. So in case you missed a question or you didn't get a chance to get your specific question answered, we'll be able to address those in the email as well. Channel Vision does offer technical support 24/7, 366 days this year. We do offer 1-year warranty on all of our powered products and 10-year warranties on all of our passive products. We do offer free training, so hopefully nobody charged you to attend today, but we do offer free system design if you do need help integrating your, designing your camera system based on your application. We also manufacture a lot of other products. We're the second largest structured wire manufacturer in North America with a full line of IR control systems, as well as our ARIA audio line for multi-room audio and high-performance speakers, including A-bus audio, which is audio and power over Cat5, whole house intercom, surveillance solutions, which we talked about today, and Channel Vision exclusive technologies such as the ability to modulate on digital cable. Now, because there are a lot of products here, we also have a product application guide, which you can download on channelvision.com on the right-hand side, which will give you all the cameras, their specifications, and the DVRs. In addition, on the website, you can be our friend on Facebook, like us there, and you can also follow all of the recorded webinars on our Channel Vision YouTube channel, also available on channelvision.com. Next month, we're going to be talking about a few things. We'll be at EHX in Orlando if anybody's headed out that way, or if you're already in Florida. We will be attending the EHX trade show. We will also be hosting a training next month on our IP cameras, looking closer at the IP cameras themselves, what their software platform looks like, and how they can integrate with your systems and automation systems. So we do offer a variety of different applications for you guys. So anytime that you do come across a question, feel free to give us a call here at the office at the number shown on the screen. I do want to thank everybody for your time. I knew we had a lot of topics to cover, so I didn't want to keep us too long, just about 45 minutes, recapped a lot of different products. But if you have any additional questions, feel free to give us a call here at the office. You can view this training as a recorded session available later, and we'll be glad to help you any way we can. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.